If you're a cheater on Tinder, you might be setting yourself up for a little pro-revenge. We'll get into that story later, but first, Coworker from heck tried to get me to give him a ride, so I blew out of the parking lot without him. I had a coworker who was one of the worst human beings I've ever met in real life. He was very misogynistic, calling all the women that worked there girl, demanding they do things for him while he did freak all, constantly flirting with them regardless if they were single or showed any interest, and would scream profanities in their face if they didn't fall in line. Management dragged their feet doing anything, despite the constant issues and the fact that they were aware the quality of his work was terrible. I'm not a woman, but many of my friends there were women, and when I see him yell, "Hey girl, go get me this, now," then pitch a fit like a toddler when they refused, it really ticked me off. I told people I worked with to tell him if they hit on them and wouldn't leave them alone because I can't stand that crap. I heard that he had no transportation and was pressuring people to take him home. One night, he told me he needed a ride home. It was midnight. Me, him, and the manager were the only people left at the end of the night. I told him I couldn't. He wouldn't listen. He followed me to my car anyway. I got in, locked the doors, and he started banging on my window like a psychopath, telling me, quote, "I better freaking take him home." Keep in mind, it was pitch black out in an empty parking lot with no security at midnight. He could have attacked me or jumped in and stole my car, and my odds of stopping him would have been slim. I put the car in reverse, backed out, and blew out of that lot. The manager left ahead of me, so he was left in that lot all alone. There's zero public transport and probably no Uber or Lyft either. The town I drive to for work is completely car dependent and so anti-public transport. Sidewalks don't even exist. I didn't feel bad about it either. Your transportation is your problem. He's not a minor. He's 27 years old. He's a big boy who can figure out his business. You can believe he didn't ask me for a ride again or freak with me. The aftermath. This happened months ago. Want to know how it ends? Turns out he was indeed a crazy person. A viral video of him came out showing him getting out of a car. A coworker who felt bad gave him a ride in a fit of road rage and getting into a fist fight with another driver right in the middle of a busy highway with hundreds of cars swerving trying not to hit him. He was clearly identifiable and people in the comments were using his legal name. Apparently, that still wasn't enough to fire him. He rather anticlimactically finally ran his mouth at the female general manager and she told him, quote, "Get the freak out of my business," and fired him on the spot. Believe me, that night I had some shots in celebration. That sounds like this guy was a right dirtbag and he deserved everything that was coming to him. My goodness, what a loco. Comfortable One 8520 replied, "I used to carpool with a guy who liked to get into road rage arguments with other drivers. He did it one day with a van load of Samoan guys. For anyone who doesn't know, Samoan guys are built like brick crap houses. They're big, solid blokes. It was all about to go chest up, but luckily, one of the guys in the van managed to calm the driver down, and we all went our separate ways. I refused to carpool with this dickhead anymore after that. He was most upset when I told him that if the Samoans had decided to get out and give him a much-needed arse kicking, I'd have held their jackets for them. Also, hey everybody, my name is Brendan, and if you guys enjoy these pro-revenge videos, it would be nice or amazing even if you like the video or commented down below if you're listening to our podcast. Now then, our next story is, I write nasty Google reviews at my former employer's small firm. And every time they get my review removed, I write another worse one. Backstory. I, 21-year-old female, got an internship at a tiny real estate law firm when I was a sophomore in college because my late grandfather was a partner who basically carried the business. I was diligent, punctual, and said yes to everything. Guess what? They still let me go, for no real reason given other than the fact that they were too busy to give me further training. The old hag who gave me the news gave me a pearl of wisdom that I needed to be more talkative. Gee, maybe next time? What's worse is she was someone my grandfather respected. Let's call her Doreen. I remember one of my tasks at this shop was when she asked me to write fake 5-star reviews to hide a 1-star story they got from a client. So now I write reviews that are specific enough and bad enough that I believe people usually would rather err on the side of caution than take a risk on a small firm. It's nothing criminal. In fact, this may not even be revenge since it's honest. My latest one is where I generally list everything wrong with the company and then end it with, "Hi Doreen, is it petty? Yes, and I'll do it again when they delete this one too. Eat crap, Doreen." Well, like you said, this isn't really petty revenge. It is petty, but I don't know so much if it's revenge because you're stating facts. I mean, Doreen seems like she has this coming to her, so give it to her. Red Devil's Oz commented, hired for a cleaning company back in 2014. When hired, was asked to write a 5-star review and was incentivized with a grocery gift card. When I said no, it's unethical, they told me to leave. So I left a 1-star review explaining what had happened and never looked back. Review can still be found on Google and Glassdoor. Our next story is, cheating ex and his affair partner, gone legit, and appear to be betrothed. My ex-husband and I were together for 17 years, married for 12, and have one child who was 9 when we got divorced, 11 now. He'd been having an affair for over 2 years with one of his college students, who was also a student worker who worked under him in his department. He's 11 years older than her. They'd gone on vacations together, and I discovered their affair when she posted vacation pictures of him on Instagram. After confronting him with the evidence, which he denied were him for 3 days, silly me, believing my lying eyes, he informed me he was in love with her, moved in with her, they lived 2 states away, and basically dipped out on all parenting responsibilities. I recently discovered that they may be engaged. This was to be expected as they moved in together months before we were even divorced, in the week of our daughter's birthday, no less. Good for them, they deserve each other. However, I know her current email address, firstname@gmail.com, and I have no clue if she's planning to change her name if they do get married. But because I'm a dick, I took it upon myself to create an email account using the same format, but with my ex's last name, so that in the event she does get married and change her name, she won't be able to make that email address. Sure, there are plenty of other options, but I do enjoy knowing that that one is taken. I don't have a backup email or phone number linked to it, so if she tries to dig into who the owner of the account is by clicking Forgot Password, it's not going to give her any recovery info. This is tame. These people deserve worse, in my opinion, and this could potentially not even amount to anything. She might not even use that email address, but hey, it's the thought that counts. I feel bad for you though, OP. That sucks to be cheated on after 17 years. Electrical Focus 560 replied, can any of this be reported to his college? It seems like a very morally, if not illegal, relationship from the school's perspective. She may have been underage, but definitely dating an employee you have power over is problematic at best. And OP replied to this, I've heavily considered this, but I don't have proof of the actual date the relationship started. To my knowledge, which is entirely based on information he's provided, their relationship began in 2021. I really doubt this is the case, but I don't have evidence to suggest otherwise, and I don't want to make false claims. She graduated in 2018, now works at the university, again in the same small department with him, because she needed a real job with steady income, I guess. They're artistes. Our next story is, my job cut people's pay for getting tasks completed too fast, so everyone ran the clock. I told this story on another sub a while back and people really enjoyed it, so I'll retell it here. For context, I'm assigned a geographical zone that I must complete all tasks in that zone by their deadlines and complete the job within a time limit given. I make my own schedule, get paid mileage to locations, I clock in via GPS tracker to prove I'm at said location. My supervisor existed, but he worked remote, never watching me directly. I worked independently. Each job we are assigned has a time limit. Problem is, we're usually given way too much time. Rarely do I get jobs that take multiple hours. I've been doing this for 6 years. Most jobs they give me, I can complete in literally less than 30 minutes, even 10 minutes. Meanwhile, they give me 2 hours to do it because I know what I'm doing. Our managers have always said it's fine to claim that we took the full time allotted for payroll purposes because hard workers getting paid less than people who don't do crap is unfair, and enforcing that will only make people run the clock. We deserve the same pay. And it does. We got new management and then they started enforcing it. We had to either take the full amount of time given or take the cut in our check. I started running the clock and my colleagues in different cities told me they were too. I would go to a location, clock in, knock out the job, then bullcrap. I'd go grocery shopping, get lunch, read a book, look at social media, anything until clockout time. Because it's bullcrap, if it only takes me 25% of the time to complete something, I should get 25% the pay the other get. I did eventually quit. The company was a mess and I got sick of it, but the job already sucked enough. They begged me to stay, believe it or not. I ghosted them. Honestly, this seems like a pretty cushy job. Like if they're giving you permission to just basically jerk around once your job is finished and still get paid for it. I don't know. It definitely sounds like a mess, but also not as bad as perhaps it is perceived here. Pacquiao Free Housing replied, "Yeah, always do this. Always make a task take longer than the actual time, so they adjust to any mishaps and delays you legitimately will have in the future." And OP replied to this, "I got a new job, and it's funny how they do the exact same thing. People know as soon as they finish all their work, management will either dismiss them and tell them to go home, hardly making any money, or give them a bunch more work that will get them stuck there all day. I got hired, and the veterans that have been there 20 plus years explained to me, never rush, work to finish at the time they expect you to be done. I was already ahead of them. Never is there any good to be had finishing too early or late than expected." Our next story is Deflated Her Ego. I was reminded of this as I recently went to homecoming at my alma mater for a marching band reunion. I'm not even sure this counts, but the whole thing was just dumb. Anyway, there was this girl back in high school, for some unknown reason, had it out for me. I had no idea how I wronged her, but one day she decided she didn't like me and was going to be a mean girl to me. We weren't even in the same grade, but we did share a few classes and extracurriculars, and she took advantage of those times we were in the same room. Subtle digs, overtaking me, unknowingly blasting her trumpet in my ear from behind, would move my music flip folder during pep band or accidentally flip the pages on me. Stupid crap like that. Oh, and the one-upmanship. If I got a good grade on an exam, she would brag that she got a better grade on her exam in a completely different class. If I got a new CD, oh, well, she got that last week. Oh, Cinnabar, you aren't wearing in-brand jeans like I am? Again, stupid crap that in the long run meant nothing. I graduated high school, went just across the state border for college, joined the marching band, never thought of her again. I didn't see her again until 2 summers later, during our hometown summer celebration. I was chatting with friends and she sidled up to me all smug. "I hear you joined the marching band at U. It can't be all that big." And I go, "Well, it was around 250 when I started, but we have about 330 this year. Note, my high school's band barely even had 50 when I graduated." That must have derailed her one-up train slightly, but she continued, telling me that she was a member of her college's marching band too, just over an hour away from my college, and I knew it was barely half the size of my band, and bragged that they'd been invited to perform halftime for an NFL team. And I say, "Oh, cool, that'll be fun. We did that for another NFL team when I started, and we had a blast. We were offered that same trip too, but we had to turn it down since we were picked to march for a large national event." She suddenly had someone else to talk to and left. Never had to deal with her passive-aggressive BS again. Told you it was stupid. Yeah, the one-upmanship, I mean, fake it till you make it. Tell lies, who cares? A1A for OU replied, "High school marching band is awesome. It's even more awesome in college. I did 4 seasons of basketball and 5 seasons of football back in the day, to the point where I was actively avoiding the national TV cameras when I could because they always seemed to stick it in our faces for fan reactions. Yes, our college football team is good. Yay! Please show other fans." And then you return home and just smile and nod. Our next story is, Tenant in the apartment building I live in forgets fob daily, and I shut them out. I know this sounds more stupid and dumb, but there's context behind this. I, 21-year-old female, live in a locked-style apartment building. We cannot let other tenants in at all if they do not have their fob and if there's no staff at the apartment. There's this one tenant, age unknown, male, that would always forget their fob and would rely on them getting in by staff or security letting them in. Today, no staff or security was at the desk at all, and I was heading out to get a drink at the local gas station. The person did follow me to it and back, where we crossed paths when I was walking back. He asked me if I had a smoke. I told him I do not. He's younger than 21, between 20 and 18, and he tried following me in, and I shut the door right before he could walk inside. This morning when staff came in, he yelled at them about my actions as I was walking out, and all I said before I left was, "They warned you to remember your fob," and walked away with a smile on my face. Edit. Thank you all so much for your replies and comments. I do have a small update on this. Staff told me that if he were to attempt to try this anymore or attempt to harm me, I'm allowed to call the security to help. Yet people like this need to be held accountable. The only way that they're going to improve is if you call them out or, make them inconvenienced at their own negligence. So good job, OP. Tasia13 replied, "My daughter lives in fob entry apartment block. The lifts also need the fob to work. As a female, you were sensible not to let him in. Your safety is most important. You can't guarantee anyone isn't going to create a problem. He created his situation. He needed to come up with the solution. I'm sure there's a number he could call and he can remember his fob, like a grown-up. Pumpkin Spice to Nice replied, I had a stalker a few years back when I lived in one of those fob apartment blocks, and he always managed to get into the building and sit outside my apartment's door on the 9th floor waiting for me. It was upsetting that people would just allow him to follow them in through the front doors of the building. Our next story is Slow and Sweet. There was just a post on Facebook feed asking if anyone remembered being fueled up, windscreen cleaned and oil topped as a part of visiting a gas station. It died out in the early 60s. While such full service was unusual in my state, having someone handle the browser and put gas in your car was common in past years. Thus, a memory was triggered. As a new driver, I was attacked by a pair of thugs in a vicious road rage incident when I was left bashed and bleeding at the side of the road. A few years later, I was getting gas at a local filling station and had a Bowser boy pump my fuel. This boy was decades older than me, very embarrassed and meekly polite. It seemed that he was newly out of prison and had been given this job as charity. The embarrassment? I recognized him. He recognized me. He was the main thug that had bashed me. And the prices of the top-up cost about $4.96. When I paid him with $5, I said, keep the change. He blushed. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and this was subtly sweet. Yeah, 4-cent tip. Hey, take what you can get, right? It's better than nothing. Low Break 1547 replied, I had a buddy in the early 80s, when we were in college, that worked at a full-service gas station. If it was really pouring and I knew he was working, I'd always go to get gas. He took it in good spirits. I'd always treat him to a couple beers the next time we were out. Our next story is, you want to steal my lunch? Eat my period. This is the classic story about that jerk who steals food from the work refrigerator. It was about 10 years ago. At least twice a week, my homemade lunch would disappear from the fridge. The thief had the decency not to take the box, which I found empty or almost empty every time. I was new and quickly discovered by talking to my colleagues that it was the work of a misogynistic jerk with whom I obviously didn't get along. He wasn't new to this, but the management never did anything. Fine, I'm a petty person and I have time to spare. I started bringing decoy lunches that I put in the fridge that I would eat a sandwich that didn't need to be refrigerated. After 2 weeks, I started talking to everyone, including him, about this new wellness method I discovered and was following to the letter, collecting my menstrual blood to eat it. I even showed a video on my phone where I was preparing the meal and emptying my menstrual cup into it. I'm well aware of the severe risks associated with getting into contact with someone else's blood, so rest assured that it was not true. I just wanted to get him to believe it. It is possible, however, that he ate at my feet's dead skin. Anyway, he took a week off after that, and our shared fridge became a safe place to store our food. Yeah, he kind of told on himself with this one, but hey, at least he heard you, and at least you get to eat your sandwiches now. Intellectual Dimwit replied, I did something similar once. I always kept a can of Pepsi in the fridge at work. I would always keep a can in there. As soon as I drank one, I would replace it with another, so I always had a cold one ready. So to everyone else, it probably looked like the same Pepsi always sitting in the fridge. At some point, someone started taking it once in a while. Then it became more frequent, so I put a note on the fridge that they weren't free Pepsis and that they belonged to someone. They still kept disappearing. So then I took one and rubbed the lip of the can all over my sweaty balls and left it in the fridge. After 2 days, it disappeared. Then I made sure to let everyone in the shop know that whoever took my Pepsi got a free taste of my balls. They never disappeared again after that. Extra napkins, please, replied. There was a suspected lunch thief that would steal from the break room fridge. He would eat all the sandwiches, but wouldn't touch any other food or drink. Some of us employees made decoys that we called meat treatment, a sandwich made with cheese, lettuce, and tomatoes to hide raw ground beef inside. Only took 1 day. On the second day, all of our decoy sandwiches were untouched. Our next story is, my neighbors are obnoxious, so I obnoxioused them back. There's a duplex across the street from my house with a family of like 6 to 8 people living between both units, coming and going. Between the 2 units is paved asphalt, probably a half basketball court size. They also have 2 single-car garages. Even so, these people park like jerks and block other neighbors from street parking. The curb in front of my house is enough space for 2 cars, so I've asked if they park in front of my house, please hug one side or the other so a second vehicle can also park. Don't park right in the middle. They apologized and said they wouldn't park in the middle anymore, but then kept doing it anyways. So instead, I parked my second car right in the middle and keep my primary car in my driveway. If you can't have courtesy, don't expect any from me then. My second car has been parked there now for months. This morning, garbage pickup, I noticed in addition to my bins in front of my house and my next door neighbor's bins, these jerks across the street drag their bins across to my side of the street. So now there's 6 garbage bins in front of my house. I was concerned garbage service would possibly skip some or all of them, but fortunately all the bins got emptied. But I returned home this evening to see not only their bins still in front of my house, but 3 cars on their property. So they were home, but they were too lazy to pick up their bins. I rolled them back across the street, and I blocked the very front of their 5-car-long tandem parking driveway. They'll have to make an extra trip to the end of the driveway when they want to leave for work in the morning. Good for you, OP. This is a very satisfying read. These people seem incredibly lazy, so yeah, make them work. Coder Joe 1 replied, "Good start. Think bigger." Aggravating Pin 8845 added, "Put a sign on them saying, 'Free bins, please take them.'" Our next story is, "Not my pregnancy tests." My daughter is 5, and this story takes place right after her conception. My wife and I were late to the game starting a family. I was 47 when my daughter was born, and my wife had just turned 42. So needless to say, her biological clock wasn't just ticking, it was chiming like Big Ben at high noon. She had the thermometer, the tracking app, and all the other accoutrements that tell you you're ovulating. If you're having fertility issues, you know how frustrating and hard it can be. It was really taking a toll on my wife. She was frustrated, and that was trickling down to me. We had been trying for a couple of years with no luck. My wife has fibroids. They were removed, but we had to take a break from trying while she healed up. She got pregnant and miscarried. This felt like a gut punch to both of us. This and our ages had us thinking we were never going to have a family. So I get a text at the office. "Come home now." If you're trying to get pregnant, you know what that means. Then I get, "Can you also pick up pregnancy tests on your way? I'm busy, I'm tired, I'm frustrated about having to perform on demand like a machine. I'm at the end of my rope and now I have to go to the feminine hygiene aisle and buy pregnancy tests." I pick up the tests and go to check out. The place is packed and I get in line with older cashier who feels the need to comment on everyone's purchases because it's the shortest line and I know I'm on the clock at this point. I get to the front and she scans the box and says, kind of laughing, "Well, these aren't for you." I respond deadpan and obviously annoyed, clearly. She doesn't get the hint and comes back with, "Well, it's exciting and you must be so happy about it." At this point, I've had enough. I look her dead in the eye and say, "Actually, these are for my 16-year-old daughter so she can find out if her 19-year-old unemployed boyfriend knocked her up. But yeah, we're all really over the freaking moon." Immediately after the words leave my mouth, I hear a gasp and an "oh my god" from the lady behind me. The cashier's face turned a color of purple I've never seen before and her eyes bugged out like Schwarzenegger at the end of Total Recall. I say nothing else, grab my bag, and walk out in a huff. I was able to make it to the front door before I broke and started laughing. Got home, did the deed, and told my wife the story, and we both had a good laugh. I really don't have anything to say about this one. It is what it is. If it made your day, good for you. KGB Tetrick replied, "And this is exactly why as a cashier, you don't comment." Just Call Me Nancy added, "Yes, but this reminds me of when I was a cashier at 19, and once some older college kids came through my line. They had some kind of weasel cat toy, Astroglide and condoms, then asked me for a pack of cigarettes. I fished out the cigarettes, got the ID, scanned and bagged the items, and finished the sale. As they grabbed the bag, they said, 'These are for a joke, by the way,' with big butt smiles all around like I was in on it. But I had to honestly think back to what they had purchased because it was at the end of my shift and I could have cared less. As long as you weren't trying to steal something that made it my problem, buy what you want." Our next story is Tinder Cheater. I was out of the dating scene for a while before I started dating Mike. He love-bombed me, but I didn't realize that's what he was doing at the time. A few months in, I found out he cheated on me. I was never the type of woman to put up with anything like that. He begged and cried for me to forgive. I don't know why, but I took him back. And after he got me to take him back, he dumped me. A friend told me he was on Tinder. I downloaded Tinder and made a fake profile. He matched with me and I carried on with the convo, acted interested, and would lead the conversation to get him reveal something I knew he was self-conscious about. Divorce, living with parents, bald, etc. I would unmatch as soon as he told me. I did it a few times with a new profile each time to get him to admit things just to unmatch. I mean, once again, it sounds like he had it coming. Have your fun at his expense. So what? Good for you, OP. Hello, Hangnail replied. Ha! Cheaters deserve every jab in their receding hairline. Gloomy Temporary 33 added, make sure to write ew, TH, for that extra spice. All right, everybody, that is all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment down below. And if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. I got nothing else for you. I will see you all next time.